Good evening, everyone. Wekiva High School welcomes you to Mustang Field, where despite some stormy weather earlier in the day, it is a beautiful day for baseball. Please welcome our guests from Jones High School. They are the Tigers. And they'll be taking on your Wekiva High School Mustangs. Let's meet the teams, beginning with our guests from Jones. And starting with their leadoff hitter, second baseman, number 9, Zin Williams. Batting second for the Tigers is left fielder, number 44, Malachi Lassane. Third in the lineup for the Tigers and on the pitcher's mound to start today's game, number 3, Canovan St. Fleur. The cleanup hitter for the Tigers is first baseman, number 0, Malachi Porter. In the 5-hole and behind the plate at the bottom of each inning, number 55, Jerome Williams III. Batting 6 for the Tigers is shortstop, number 1, Juan Yepes. Seventh in the lineup for the Tigers is center fielder, number 11, Nathaniel Pierre. Batting 8th for the Tigers is right fielder, number 7, Corey Geralds. And finally for the Tigers, batting 9th is center fielder, number 6, DeAndre McDaniel Jr. And the Tigers are managed by Coach Moore. And now let's meet the starting lineup for your Wekiva High School Mustangs. The leadoff hitter for the Mustangs is second baseman, number 7, Anthony Bethune. Second in the lineup for the Mustangs, designated hitter, number 4, Brady Rennert. And fielding for him in center field, number 1, Noah James. Third in the lineup for the Mustangs is third baseman, number 12, Jaden Graham. The cleanup hitter for the Mustangs and starting pitcher for today's game, number 20, Emil Flecker. Fifth in the lineup for the Mustangs, left fielder, number 8, Jazion Vigil. Batting 6 for the Mustangs and behind the plate at the top of each inning, number 3, Cody Bowen. Batting 7th for the Mustangs is first baseman, number 18, Charles Neal. In the 8-hole, right fielder, number 13, Gabriel Prochet. And finally for the Mustangs, batting 9th is shortstop, number 16, Nathan Fritchley. And the Mustangs are managed by head coach Brian Tatai and assistant coach Sean Irons. And now we invite you to please stand as we honor America with the singing of our national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. For those of you here in the ballpark, we want to make sure you're aware that we are live streaming tonight's game. We are on YouTube and the NFHS Network. The NFHS Network is, of course, the official home of the Florida High School Athletic Association. If you're a member there, you can get it on NFHSnetwork.com or the NFHS Network app on your favorite mobile device. Or if you're not a member there, that's okay. You can watch absolutely free. Just direct your friends and family to visit our YouTube channel. Open up the YouTube app on your favorite computer, smart TV, or mobile device and search for the channel Wekiva Sports. Wekiva Sports is the name of the channel, and you can watch tonight's game live whether you are in Orlando, Apopka, or anywhere in the world. And we want to welcome those of you who have done just that. My name is Mark Barchi, the voice of the Mustangs and sports information director here at Wekiva High School, joined by Neil Fisher, longtime Apopka sports journalist, and we'll be taking you through tonight's game. And Neil, both of these teams kind of have something to prove here. This game is part of pool play for the Orlando Metro West Conference Tournament, and so there are some stakes to be had here in terms of how things will shake out when we get into elimination play. And both of these teams have had a little bit of a rocky start to their season, but the Mustangs are poised with a win tonight, if they should prevail, to pick up their third for the season, and that would put them against Evans, which is always a perennial rivalry in Friday night's remaining pool play game.
Yes, absolutely, Mark. Of course, as you mentioned, 3 wins for Wekiva against 8 losses. Jones still seeking their first victory. They're 0-8. So you laid out the stakes as far as this being the Metro Conference Championship Tournament. It is the last game in pool play. The next game will be where we match up the both teams in the position. In other words, the two first place teams play the first place team, second place teams play the second place team. But in the bigger picture, we are now solidly a third of the way through the season, in that middle third of the season, and both these teams in need of a victory. As you mentioned, or if you joined the slate, of course, this is Williams leading off, the second baseman. He'll be followed by Lasatne.
As we enter the top of the first inning, once again, the leadoff hitter for the Tigers is second baseman number 9, Zinn Williams. Flacker has, at least in the games I have seen personally here at Mustang Field, been the most consistent of the Mustang pitchers as we pick up strike one. Second pitch away, that one's high and inside for a ball. I talked to Coach Tatai before the game, and he indicated, based on his scouting, as we get a check swing, and the decision is a ball. So that'll be a 2-1 count. Based on Coach Tatai's scouting report, the Tigers struggling with pitching this year. They have really just one effective pitcher. And so that can be a challenge when it comes to pitch count rules, because once you get to 105 pitches, you're done. And Jones does not really have a second person who can consistently draw strikes. So we'll see how that plays out tonight.
In the meantime,
we have a base on balls for Williams. That puts a runner at 1. Next at the plate for the Tigers is left fielder number 44, Malachi Lassane.
So Lassane steps in, and he has yet to start a game. This is his first official plate appearance as he looks at strike one. And getting back to Flat Car, since you mentioned him.
I don't have his stats in front of me, but I just know from the eye test that of the
he's-
games I have called at Wekiva, he has been the most consistent and reliable pitcher from the Mustangs bullpen of the games that I've called personally.
Yeah, credit the stolen base there to Williams. So the first scoring opportunity and only the second at bat. And Flaquer is actually a 3.37 ERA, 1-1 record. This is his fourth game he started, sixth appearance, as he whips that ball by Lassane. And nice job by Bowden to keep that ball in front.
Tagged out on the uncaught third strike, so that will record a strikeout for Flacker. And next at the plate, with one away for Jones, will be pitcher number 3, Kenovin St. Fleur.
And to finish up Flacker's stats, 18 walks against 31 strikeouts. As that ball's hit and
Should be out of play.
Territory by St. Fleur. So one out, runner on second base. Top of the first inning. St. Fleur coming in with a 182 batting average, 2 RBIs, and yet to hit a home run. We are in the first inning here at Mustang Field as we now look at strike 2. So an 0-2 count. Flaquer walking the leadoff hitter, Williams, but he has been on target in every pitch since then. Looking good, looking like the consistent pitcher that Mark had mentioned. And
Gonna try for the pickoff at second. Nothing there.
And it's a beautiful night here at Mustang Field. Of course, during the afternoon
We had quite the intense cold front come through.
Yes.
Some areas saw some severe weather, and I had texted the athletic director, Coach Biaggi, saying, like, hey, let me know if the field takes on water. But no, field conditions are good as we get an attempted steal at third, and got him.
And that is a double
Strikeout at the plate and caught stealing at third. So that will take us directly to the middle of the first inning. So despite the walk, that effectively becomes 3 up and 3 down. No runs, no hits, no errors, none left on base, and we remain scoreless at the end of a half inning. Back with more from Mustang Field in just a moment. For those of you who are not familiar with our broadcast, you will hear silence during the half-inning breaks, and that is because we do not want to run afoul of YouTube's copyright guidelines, because we do play copyrighted music here in the ballpark. But don't worry, there is nothing wrong with your audio. Do not adjust your television. We'll be back in a moment. As we enter the bottom of the first inning, the Mustangs begin with second baseman number 7, Anthony Bethune.
No score, as you just heard Mark say. It's the bottom of the first inning. With Bethune stepping in, he'll be followed by Reiner and then Graham in this bottom of the first inning. So Bethune batting actually 1,000. He is 1 for 1, 2 plate appearances. Now a 1-1 count, and our pitcher, St. Flier, Conovan St. Flier. As that's a ball. St. Flier, 9.95 ERA, as ...20 walks and 23 strikeouts in 12 2/3 innings. Now the 2-2 count, 2-2 pitch, make that 3-2, a full count. And the full count to the leadoff hitter in the bottom of the first, and second consecutive half inning, the leadoff hitter draws a walk. Give Bethune credit, patience at the plate.
Bethune walks to first. Next at the plate for the Mustangs, designated hitter number 4, Brady Rennert. Easily the best batting stats, as you would expect of a designated hitter.
Reinert comes in, has a runner at base, chance to advance him over. 407 batting average for the junior, with 2 RBIs and no home runs. As St. Flier gets his sign. And here's the pitch. Catches the outside corner. 0-1 count. One count with the runner out first, slapped down to third base. Nice job by the third baseman. That's Pierre, and couldn't get him at first though. Throw a bit wild. So now Wekiva threatening in the top of the bottom of the first inning.
Next at the plate for the Mustangs with runners at 1 and 2, third baseman number 12, Jaden Graham.
With a runner at first and second and nobody out. So your defensive lineup for Jones, the Tigers, again looking for their first win of the season, as ball 1 taken by Graham. Behind the plate is Williams. Porter at first, Williams at second. In the hole is Yippies. Pierre on the hot corner and left to right as the throw goes back to second base. Everybody back to your assigned positions. In the outfield, left to right, Lassane, McDaniel, and Gerolds. And Graham, the third baseman, at the plate, first and second, nobody out, a 1-0 count. As Graham looks at ball 2, a 2-0 count. Now, Graham batting .292 with 3 RBIs. He has yet to hit a home run as well. And once Mustang Field, the site, a beautiful night. despite the shaky weather in the afternoon, not a cloud in the sky, is the ball down to third base, and beating the throw in easily is Bethune, and taking second is Reinert. So now both runners in scoring position with nobody out for Graham, who has that 3 RBIs, looking certainly a golden opportunity for him to up that total. Jones looking for his first win. Wekiva coming in with a 2-8 record. And we're going to get our first run of the game as that ball whips past Williams, a wild pitch, and down to third base. That's Reinert. So not only does Wekiva score,
Bethune scores on the wild pitch, and that will also advance Reinert to third. Meanwhile, for the Mustangs, Graham walks to first, and next to the plate will be pitcher number 20, Emil Flocker.
So not only does Wekiva score the first run of the game and take that 1-0 lead as soon as possible, remember, still nobody out, but they're in position to keep adding to it with the runner at first and third, as Flocker, as you just heard Mark say, stepping up to the plate. Flocker not only the most consistent pitcher, but also the most consistent hitter as well for Wekiva, with a .320 batting average, 4 RBIs, and yet to hit a home run. So the second consecutive batter chance to up the RBI total. Won't do it on that pitch. And in the meantime, the base is stolen, second base by Graham, and we got a repeat, deja vu, as runners at second and third with nobody out. Once again, second consecutive batter. Delivery from St. Flier, and that'll hit Flaquer. And now the base is loaded with nobody out in the bottom of the first. Wekiva already taking the 1-0 lead against Jones. Of course, Jones, one of the oldest Metro Conference teams, schools.
Flaquer advances to first, and that will load up the bases for left fielder number 8, Josiah Vigil.
Metro Jones right across the street from Camping World Stadium and the 408. And so far, Mark, can't ask for a better start for Wekiva. As ball 1 taken by Vigil. And timeout called.
And here we get into where Jones can run into a sticky situation, because right now I've been trying to keep track of this as we go here. I've got 18 pitches so far on St. Fleur, and again, they do not really have a bullpen. So the problem is that if you've got hit batsmen and walks and in-play balls that cause innings to go on, and you get more than a little bit of the way through the lineup in each half inning, those pitch counts start to add up really fast, and you can get to the third or fourth inning and find yourself already staring down the barrel of being termed out on the pitcher's mound.
Yeah, and of course, Mark, taking a look at this from the Wekiva perspective, which is we are the in-house broadcasting team, can't ask for a better start. 4 batters up, 4 batters reaching base, 1-0 lead with nobody out. And this might be the first out. That ball's hit up to Yippies, and he brings that ball down. So there is now 1 out, nobody able to advance. Bases remain loaded.
Infield fly is handled for the Tigers by number 1. That's the shortstop, Juan Yepes. 1 away for the Mustangs. Next at the plate for Wekiva, catcher number 3, Cody Bowen.
So Bowen steps in. He has some work to do this season on the offensive end. Only a 182 batting average as he looks at ball 1, low and outside. 4 RBIs. That puts him second on the team. Of course, tied with Flaquer. And just say this instead of saying with every batter, no one's hit a home run for Wekiva yet. So, and now the 1-1 count. as Reinert threatens to come home, but nice job by Williams behind the plate to keep him at bay. Wekiva 2-8, Jones 0-8, so both these teams looking for a win. It's not only important in terms of the Metro Conference Championship Tournament. That ball is sliced down the foul line, and that'll even the count at 1-1. Excuse me, that'll take the count to 1-2. But we are now solidly in the middle third of the season, and this is the part of the season, Mark, where if you really want to start making that progression towards playing your best baseball.
Yeah, well, and I talked to Coach Teitai before the game, and he said this game he really views as being a potential turning point for Wekiva, especially knowing that a win here would put Evans up on the schedule as the first opponent in that second phase of the Metro tournament.
A 2-2 count now.
So looking at St. Fleur's stats so far, I've got 21 balls, 8 strikes, and 2 in play, so we'll make that 10 strikes total.
And I can hear the chatter from the Wekiva bench.
Pass ball and a scoring opportunity.
Yes, converted. Reiner comes in, trots across home plate, and a 2-0 lead now for Wekiva. Still only one out, second and third.
Brady Reiner scores on the pass ball, making it a 2-0 lead for the Mustangs. Meanwhile, 3-2 at the plate.
Coaching staff barking out signals to St. Fleer. And did not work there as second walk of the inning, Bowden draws it. And that'll load the bases with one out.
Bowen takes first base on balls. And coming in as a courtesy runner for him will be number 15, Sean John. That loads up the bases for first baseman, number 18, Charles Neal.
And Neal steps in.
So Neal, meet Neal.
Yes, although that's his last name and my first. And he was going for the fences on that. A mighty swing on that made no connection with St. Fleer getting the upper hand with the 0-1 count. Only his second plate appearance for Neal.
Another pass ball. And another score.
3-0 lead now for Wekiva. The first 4 batters reaching base. So far, the first 3 of those 4 reaching base. Flecker, the 4th batter, is all the way on third. As Neal now steps back in with that 1-1 count.
Wild pitch.
And make that 4 of 4 now, as far as the first 4 batters reaching base and scoring. As the count goes to 2-1.
Yeah, a little bit of an unusual line score here. 4 runs on no hits with 1 Tiger error. You don't see that every day.
Yes, but if you look at the stats, it certainly makes sense. 4 walks and a couple wild pitches, as you just
That's
alluded
in play.
to. Gobbled up by Yippies, a throw over to first, and that'll be the second out of the inning, but it does bring home Bowden in a 5-0 lead for Wekiva in the bottom of the first inning.
No, that's not an out either.
Oh, he did beat it. So.
RBI put up in the books for Neal, and he beats the throw to first. That puts 5 runs on the board for Wekiva. And next to the plate will be right fielder number 13, Gabriel Prochet.
So, thought we had a good situation there with the RBI coming in on what I thought was the ground out, but it turns out best possible situation out where that ball was hit, as Neal is safe at first, and the run comes in, and an 1-0 count now to Prochet.
And I'll give Neal the single there because there was no specific mishandling of the ball. However, that was potentially a play that could have been made. The problem was that the throw was a little bit short and required the first baseman to come off the bag a little bit. and then wasn't able to get back in time.
So the 1-2 count now, and Prochet, this is only his second plate appearance as well. Mentioned Neal, that previous batter, who reached first base on the infield singles. The count goes 2-2, and there's also a balk. And speaking of Neal, he'll trot down to second. He also, his at-bat, Neal's was his second. So 2 consecutive batters now. Seeing some time here in the middle third of the season. Coach Tate. And that's another balk. So now a runner back over at third base with only 1 out in the bottom of the first inning. And the visit as well.
I can't remember the last time I saw 2 consecutive balks.
So Prochet, the 8th batter in the bottom of the first inning. 4 walks, an error, a throwing error, and an infield single, along with a wild pitch, a couple wild pitches, and a 5-0 lead for Wekiva in a game they most definitely could use a win tonight. Going 2-8, we've mentioned it several times, but we will keep mentioning it as Coach Moore returns back to the bench. A win tonight by Wekiva would set him up with a date against Evans. This is the 2025 Metro Conference Championship Tournament. 5 games make up pool play. And at the end of those 5 games, as a mighty swing, no connection there for Prochet, and a 3-2 count now. Excuse me, that's strike 3, the second out of the inning.
St. Fleur records the strikeout. 2 away now for the Mustangs. Next at the plate for Wekiva, shortstop number 16, Nathan Fritchley.
So Fritchley steps in, runner at third base with 2 outs now. 5-0 lead as he looks at strike 1. Getting back to the game against Evans, this is the Metro Conference Championship Tournament, and the last game features the positions. So the first place teams play each other, second place teams, and so on, as that curveball does not find the strike zone, just outside, a 1-1 count. So Fritchley, the shortstop, in his first at-bat tonight. He's still looking for his first hit of the season. And 15 plate appearances, 10 official at-bats, now a 1-2 count. And also the 9th batter in the order. So Mark, again, couldn't ask for a better start if you're Wekiva. Not only your first 4 batters reaching base, as that count will go 2-1, 2-2, and the wild pitch. Ball slings by Williams, and a 6-0 lead, but sent the entire batting lineup to the plate tonight, along with those 6 runs. And
Charles Neal comes home on the wild pitch.
And certainly the Wekiva bench is aware of the 6-0 lead. They're quite charged up over there on that third base line, as the count now 2-2. Curveball this time hits the... Actually, that was strike 3. So
strikeout recorded by St. Fleur, and that will take us to the end of the first inning. In that half inning, 6 runs scored on 1 hit with 1 Tiger error, leaving none on base, and the score now 6-0 at the end of 1 inning. Back with more from Mustang Field in a moment. The Tigers will begin the second inning in the fourth position of their lineup with first baseman number 0, Malachi Porter.
And if you're Wekiva, couldn't ask for a better start. First 4 batters reaching base. 9 batters in total going up to the plate in that first inning to take the 6-0 lead. And as Mark just said, that's Porter at the plate, and he looks at ball 1. Fleckhair whipping that ball by him, some chin music. He'll be followed by Williams and Yepes. Porter coming in with a .250 batting average, 1 RBI. This is his 6th game that he's appeared in. And now he'll be looking at a 2-0 count as the curveball does not find the mark. Mustang Field the site in the bottom of or top of the second inning as Fleckhair gets Porter swinging at that pitch. Might have been out of the strike zone, a bit on the low side. And the 1-2-1 count, make that 3-1 as Porter slid out of the batter's box to avoid being hit. And the 2-3-1 count, make that a full count. Porter unable to catch up on that heat from Fleckhair. And Fleckhair gets his sign for the 2 full count, and that'll be a walk. Porter drawing the walk in second consecutive inning and third consecutive half inning. The leadoff hitter reaching a base on a walk.
Porter walks to first. Next to the plate will be catcher number 55, Jerome Williams.
So Williams steps in with the runner at first, nobody out. Jones trailing 6-0 to Wekiva. Williams batting .429 on the season, and he'll get a chance for an RBI as well as Porter dashes down to second on the wild pitch. And now third, the tag. As
Closer inspection.
Graham caught and swept the glove across the base. And I believe, well,
tag out made at third.
So, delayed call there from our umpire.
Well, he wanted the player to turn his glove over and show that ball. That puts one away for the Tigers.
So, Porter, that's where the aggressiveness bites Jones. Got to second base without a problem. Tried to get to third base, take that second base, and a nice throw, beautiful throw from Bowden down to Graham. As Williams looks at ball 1-1 count. And again, a beautiful play by Graham as well in the field, catching that ball and sweeping the glove in front of Porter as the count now goes to 2-1 on Williams. So Williams has 5 RBIs along with his .429 batting average. And he'll be looking at a 3-1 count now. Fleckhair, the starter, working his second inning now. Caught a break there on what in hindsight turned out to be a bad decision, trying to take third base. And now he'll run the count to 3-2 as that ball finds the mark. Williams taking all the way. Full count, contact, lifted into center field. Long run for Jones, who can't get it, bring the ball in. And rounding first, and our first base runner, via the hit for Jones, will be Williams, and he'll take that double.
Jerome Williams pops one into center field just out of reach, and so that'll be a double for him. Next to the plate for the Tigers, shortstop number 1, Juan Yepes.
So a 6-0 lead for Wekiva. We're in the top of the second from Mustang Field, right next to State Route 429. But Jones is now threatening with that lead, with that double off the bat of Williams. And as you heard Mark say, Yep is stepping in, the shortstop. He'll swing at that first pitch, gets by Bowden. Bowden, though, quickly pounces on that ball, not allowing any movement by the runner. So Yippies, he's also looking for his first hit of the season. 0 for 8 at the plate. 16 official plate appearances. As Flacker delivers, that'll take the count to 0-2. Of course, now Wekiva in a situation where they want to get this out. Now allow Jones to build some momentum, keep that momentum on their side with the 6-0 lead in the top of the second inning. And the momentum will take another step towards building. Ball bouncing about 5 feet in front of Bowden behind the plate. Williams at third base now. And of course, Mark, this is where getting that out. Porter leading off the inning with a walk, went to second on a wild pitch, and then tried to go for third base, tried to take that second base, and was tagged out. It would be a 6-1 game now with nobody out, and Jones would certainly be much further ahead in terms of building that momentum that I'm speaking of. So the 1-2 count now as Flacker gets his sign from the stretch. And make that strike 3 as Yippies was frozen. So much needed out.
Flacker records the strikeout. Put 2 away for the Tigers. Next to the plate for Jones, center fielder, number 11, Nathaniel Pierre.
So Pierre will be trying to get that runner in from third base. Yippie's unable to as he looks at strike 1. Curveball, slider actually, catches the outside corner. And Pierre, the third baseman, with a 111 batting average, 2 RBIs, no home runs. And he'll now be looking at a 1-1 count. We are in the top of the second inning. Wekiva with the 6-0 lead. The home team. A 2-1 count now. Bowden, nice job of covering that ball up quickly. Moving out of his crouch. And that's Coach Tati now crossing third base line. He's going to have a conference. So, quick summary, first 4 batters for Wekiva in the bottom of the first inning, reaching base. They set 9 up in total to bring in those 6 runs, one hit, 4 walks, an error, and 3 wild pitches. 2 of those 6 runs were unearned. And this is the 2025 Metro Conference Championship Tournament. The last game in pool play. So when you get done with pool play, there's actually 4 of them, 5 teams in each. And we'll have our positionings matching up as I can see Coach Tate is signaling that he is making some player changes. Mark. And we are actually going to get a pitching change. So Fakir, an early outing for him. Of course, it wasn't because of performance or the situation with Wekiva being up 6-0. And we'll see if we can find out why Coach Tati has decided to take Fakir out. Only 4 outs into this outing, into this performance, and nonetheless on the mound is number 12, and that is Jaden Graham, who of course started the last home game for Wekiva last week. The 6-foot, 183-pound junior who also plays third base. Graham coming in. with a 4.85 ERA, 0-2 record. Fifth appearance for Graham. And he has 10 strikeouts and 2 walks. So certainly a very good walk to strikeout ratio. Graham's pitching.
Now pitching for the Mustangs, number 12, Jaden Graham.
So Graham takes over for Flacar with a runner at third base and 2 outs. That runner at third base is Williams, who has the only hit so far for Jones, the double, and the straightaway center field. In the first pitch, disaster for Wekiva as that ball skips and hops right in front of Bowden, and now the lead cut to 6-1. Good news though for Wekiva is it does empty the bases.
Williams comes home to put the Tigers on the board to cut the Mustang lead to 6-1.
So everybody back to your assigned positions, and the second ball again bouncing way in front of Bowden. That was actually the fourth ball. So Pierre turns the corner at first base, and he'll wind up at second base. So
Pierre picks up first base on the walk and second on the wild pitch. Next at the plate for the Tigers, right fielder, number 7, Corey Geralds.
So certainly an inauspicious start for Graham. 2 pitches, 2 wild pitches, bouncing several feet in front of Bowden, the catcher, and now the throw to second.
Yeah, not bad enough to turn into an error, but certainly not where it needed to be.
So Geralds, the right fielder, as you heard Mark say, he comes in with a 167 batting average, no RBIs, no home runs. And Graham's still looking for his first strike on as a pitcher. And there it is as that ball is ticked off. So we'll 2-1 count now. Excuse me, 1-1 count. Six-1 lead for Wekiva.
Graham looks back at second base.
From the stretch, the delivery, and that'll take the count to 2-1.
Meanwhile, the Mustangs will not challenge the steal at third.
So 6-1 lead for Wekiva. They've yet to bat in the second inning, and that was the catalyst was 4 walks. Both teams with just 1 hit. That'll be strike 2, swinging through the high heat. And a 2-2 count now. Graham gets his sign. And back to work. The junior goes, looking to close out this inning. And he does. Second consecutive pitch, high heat, unable to catch up Gerald.
Graham records the swinging strikeout, and that will take us to the middle of the second inning. 1 run scored on 1 hit with no Mustang errors, leaving 1 on base, and the score now stands 6-1 at the end of an inning and a half. Back with more from Mustang Field after the break. As we enter the bottom of the second inning, the Mustangs will begin at the top of their lineup with second baseman number 7, Anthony Bethune.
And Wekiva also starting the top of the second inning with the 6-1 lead. I'm Neil Fisher. Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday night. And Bethune hits a soft liner to the second baseman, Williams, who easily snags it. One up, one down in the bottom of the second.
Line out catch is made for the Tigers at second base by Williams. One away. Next at the plate for Wekiva, designated hitter number 4, Brady Reinert.
So after Reinert, it'll be Graham. Back to the top of the lineup here in the bottom of the second as Reinert looks at some chin music from St. Filiere. Starter for Jones, 6-1 lead for Wekiva. And if you did join us late, the starting pitcher for Wekiva was actually taken out in the top of this inning, as that'll take the count to 2-0. That being Emile Flaquier. Only pitched 1 1/3 inning. Gave up 1 hit, 1 run. It was earned, 3 walks and 4 strikeouts. Coach Tati decided to bring in Graham last inning. And now the count at 3-0 to Reinert. Also, if you joined us late, that 6-1 lead, walk has been the catalyst. And here's a textbook example of why, to use the old cliche, coach's hair turned gray. 4 walks in that first inning as Wekiva sent 9 men to the plate, 3-1 count now. Reinert did not reach base on a walk, though. He actually got in on a throwing error. Ball was about a couple feet to the right of the first baseman, Porter. And now he gets on base for the second time. Looks at ball 4, and that'll bring up Graham with 1 out and runner at first in the bottom of the second inning from Mustang Field.
Reinert walks to first. Next to the plate for Wekiva, third baseman and now pitcher number 12, Jaden Graham.
So Graham steps in. He was one of the 4 batters who received a walk in that first inning. Wekiva's first 4 batters, Bethune, Reinert, Graham, Flacker, all reaching base in that first inning. 9 batters in total going to the plate for Wekiva in the first inning, building that 6-1 lead. This is Mustang Field, the site. Beautiful night here at the old ballpark. Can't ask for a better night to be playing baseball, as on his horse is Reinert, and he won't have to slide. There was a throw from Williams, but late from Williams to the other Williams, actually. Yes, Jones has 2 Williams playing for it. And the count now 0-1 with a runner at second base and 1 out. And make that 1-1.
You could tell that Graham wanted nothing to do with that pitch.
It was on the inside there. Hard to hit that to the opposite field. On his horse again is Reinert as the ball's hit, and it's going to go all the way to the wall, rounding third and trotting home. Make it a 7-1 game will be Reinert, and stand-up double for Graham.
Jaden Graham deep into center field has an RBI double as Reinert comes home. That extends the Mustang lead to 7 runs to 1. Next to the plate for Wekiva, third baseman number 20, Emile Flacker. But first, a substitution.
Actually, just Graham was handing his batting equipment to Coach Tati.
Okay.
Coach Tati, of course, the third base coach. Tate, excuse. Tay. As Flaquier steps in, and Flaquier looking for his first official at-bat tonight. He was, again, one of the 4 batters who walked in the first inning, scored a run, the 4th run of the game. And now he's got a chance to add to that lead with the runner at second, and he won't do that there. Took a slash to no avail. St. Filiere fooling him. Pitch was slower than Flackhair thought. Now he makes contact. That ball sharply hit through the hole on the left side. And Graham getting the signal. He'll score easily, crossing home plate now. And the second consecutive stand-up double by Flackhair.
Flackhair with a double grounder down to left center field. That will score Graham. Mustangs now up 8-1 on that hit. Next to the plate for Wekiva, left fielder, number 8, Josiah Vigil.
And Vigil, he'll step in now with that 8-1 lead. And a runner at second with 1 out. He's looking for his first hit of the game. Flew out to the shortstop. Yippies in the first inning, and now his job will become a little bit easier as Flackhair now at third base on that wild pitch.
And keep me honest here, Neil, that was Wekiva's third hit of the night, as I recall.
Yes. So infield single by Neal in the first inning, and then the 2 consecutive stand-up doubles, Graham and Flackhair. And speaking of Flackhair, he's getting a big lead at third base. And that ball hits softly over to the shortstop Yippies. Flackhair now running home. And the throw's offline, but Flackhair did beat it by quite a bit there anyway. So now 9-1 as Wekiva puts up 3 more.
So the play is made from Yippies to Porter on the 6-3 ground out to put 2 away for the Mustangs. However, it does score Flackhair. 9-1 now the score, as next to the plate for the Mustangs will be catcher number 3, Cody Bowen.
So 2-8 record for Wekiva. Jones 0-8. They're still looking for their first victory. As Bowden sharply hits that, drills it, but foul. You could hear the clank of the bat making contact. Bowden with a walk in the first inning, but he did score a run. And Wekiva, as the count now goes 1-1, their 2 victories coming against Circle Christian and Jones. And the first time these 2 teams mate, and snagging that ball out of the air. Nice play by Williams, moving to his left to get that third out, but Wekiva upping the lead.
Williams on the line out, and that will take us to the end of the second inning. In that half inning, 3 runs scored on 2 hits with no Tiger errors, leaving none on base, and the score now stands 9-1 at the end of 2 innings. Back with more from Mustang Field after a quick break. Now pitching for the Mustangs, number 17, Austin Schwartz. And as we enter the top of the third inning, the Tigers will begin in the first position of their lineup. The ninth position of their lineup, with center fielder number 6, DeAndre McDaniel.
And Wekiva, as we begin the second inning, holding that 9-1 lead. After McDonald, we'll be back at the top of the lineup with Williams and Lassane. And as you just heard Mark say, Mark, of course, our public address announcer as well as my on-air partner, Austin Schwartz now taking over on the mound, the 6'2", 145-pound junior. And his first pitch to McDaniels finds that strike zone, 0-1 count. So Schwartz coming in with a 27.30 ERA. This is his fourth appearance, the first time he has come in the middle of a game, a non-starter, as a mighty swing there on a pitch, outside and low, skips by the catcher Bowden. So also, see 5 walks, 2 strikeouts. So clearly with that 9-1 lead, as this is McDaniel's first trip to the plate, Coach Tate looking to get some of the players who don't get a lot of time some time tonight. Ball dropped by Bowden, picks it up calmly, poised over to first, 1 up, 1 down for Schwartz, taking over the pitching duties in this inning.
Schwartz records the swinging strikeout. The uncaught third strike is play made at first, and that will put one away for the Tigers.
And there was multiple other switches as well, Mark, to my point of a number of Coach Tate getting some time in for his players.
Next up, the Tigers return to the top of the card with second baseman number 9. That's Zinn Williams.
So, Mark, again, your thoughts about all those changes, giving the players some time?
Oh, yeah, and then Coach Tate talked to me about this before the game as well. You know, he said that we'd have to see how the game was going, but if he had the opportunity to do so, that he'd like to get some of the bench players some time to field and some turns at bat, and it looks like they'll have an opportunity to do that in the bottom of this inning. Just to summarize what happened over the break, we had Polanco come in for Bethune at the first position in the lineup. We had Bird, that's Blaine Bird, come in at the 5th position in the lineup for Josiah Vigil.
1-2 count now.
We also had, Sean John comes in for Gabriel Prochet in the 8th position in the lineup. And finally, Caden Lopez comes in for Nate Fritchley at the 9th position in the lineup.
So we also got the final line stats for Graham. Pitched only 2/3 of an inning, and again, it's looking more and more like his plan was to go with a number of players, give him some short time as strike 3, and that'll be the second out of the inning.
Schwartz records the swinging strikeout to put 2 away for the Tigers. Next at the plate for the Tigers is left fielder number 44, Malachi Lassane.
Graham not giving up a hit or a run in this 2/3 of an inning on the mound. 1 walk and 1 strikeout. And now, of course, again, Schwartz on the mound, the lefty. And he starts ball 1 to Lassane, who, speaking of strikeouts, struck out in his first at-bat. So the third pitcher now, Schwartz. The pitchers certainly have found the K, caught the K bug, if you will, as there's now 0-2 count. A total of 7 through just 2 2/3 innings. Walks is a different story, not quite as eye-catching as the strikeouts, but still 4. They've given Jones probably a couple more opportunities to advance their runners, as there's your first hit by pitchers, than you like with those 4 walks. And that'll bring up St. Flier, the starting pitcher for Jones.
Josiah Wiggins walks to first, and pardon me, he checked into the lineup there at that position. Next at the plate will be number 3, the pitcher, Canovan St. Fleur. So, Neil, make sure you mark that on your card. That was actually number 8,
yes.
batting in the second positional lineup.
Position. And St. Fleur, he also struck out in his first at-bat in the first inning. And he'll look at strike 1 from Schwartz.
Now, what should be noted, though, is that, of course, Wekiva has all of 10 pitches on their current pitcher with Schwartz here. Meanwhile, this is not an official count by any means, but just the online score bug that you see here, it keeps up with how many times I've pushed the ball in the strike key, and so if I've been doing that approximately accurately, we got 26 balls, 14 strikes, and 7 in play. That would be 47 total pitches. So about let's see, that's not quite halfway through the limit for St. Fleur as we get a stolen base at second.
So 2 outs with that runner on second base. As Schwartz gets his sign, back to work. Ball chopped back to Schwartz. Nice job of snagging that ball, tomahawk snag, and nothing comes of the hit by pitch as Wekiva is
Play
out
is
of the
made
inning.
at first base on the 1-3. Play made there from Schwartz, and that will take us to the middle of the third inning. So no runs scored on no hits with no Mustang errors, leaving 1 on base, and that will leave us at a 9-1 game as we head into the bottom of the third inning. Back with more from Mustang Field in a moment. As we enter the bottom of the third inning, the Mustangs will begin in the 7th position of their lineup with first baseman number 18, Charles Neal.
And we also begin the bottom of the bottom of the third inning. Still a 9-1 lead for Wekiva. As Neal looks at strike 1, he's 1 for 1 tonight. Infield single in the first inning, now a 1-1 count. And St. Fleur continues on the mound for Jones. Wekiva's used 3 pitchers. despite that 9-1 lead, as swinging through that pitch, a slow curveball, 1-2 count, and I would think anybody watching this game tonight, again, thank you for joining us, would see that the game plan going in as that ball slapped down the third baseline, got a charge, it's Pierre, and he won't be able to field it cleanly. And so Wekiva gets its leadoff batter on for the second time tonight. And Prochet. So Prochet, the right fielder, will step up, and Fritchley due up after him.
Neal safe at first on the single, and next at the plate for Wekiva will be number 15, John.
Neal, kind of an odd stat line. Not that this usually comes up, but he is now 2 for 2, but both of them infield singles, has beaten out slow rolling grounders. As once again, Prochet steps in. He's 0 for 1, struck out in his first at bat, which was in the first inning. Squares the bunt, takes strike 1. Wekiva sending 9 batters to the plate in the first inning, and the 6 runs scored. They added 3 in the second. Now a 9-1 lead, and now they'll have a chance to add to that lead as that ball sails over the head of Williams. And easily into second, not even a throw. So Prochet have a chance to up his RBI total. He has yet to knock in a run this season. Won't do it on that pitch as he looks at one high and outside. And getting back to Coach Tate and his game plan, I think it's rather obvious that, at least in terms of player rotation, get as many players in as he can, get those players who don't see a lot of time, some time tonight, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely, Neil. And Wekiva showing that the bench has some depth to it. A lot of times you don't get to see that. I mean, when you watch a basketball game, you know that you're going to see more than 5 players play. Some coaches go to the bench more than others. Some coaches go 2 layers deep and others don't. But one way or the other, you know that you're going to see some airtime for more than just the starting 5. But in the case of a baseball game, a lot of times the 9 people on the card are the only people you ever see. Maybe a pitching change, but besides that, that's about all you get. And so this is a great opportunity for Wekiva to demonstrate the skills of some of their players who are not necessarily on the main card as we go to a full count.
Yes, full count now. Neal at second base with nobody out. See if he takes off. Nope. He's still waiting, and he'll stay there as Prochet strikes out, taking strike 3. It'll be the first out of the inning.
One away for the Mustangs. The St. Fleur records the strikeout next to the plate for Wekiva. Will be number 2, Caden Lopez.
So Fritchley originally in this position.
That's
Lopez
in play, and a beautiful spot. Very first pitch, Lopez finds a sweet spot in center field for a single, and that'll put runners at 1 and 3. Next to the plate for Wekiva, they will return to the top of the card, and checking into the lineup here is number 6, Enrique Polanco.
So Polanco steps in.
And I am no longer attempting to memorize who's at which position for the purposes of the lineup, because just because they go in that position in the lineup does not necessarily mean they take over that fielding position.
That is correct, Mark. And Lopez was batting for Fritchley, as you heard Mark say, who's also our public address announcer. Swung in got to first base on the first pitch. Can't ask for a better at-bat than that. And now Polanco is pitch hitting for Bethune And this is the top of the order. Polanco looking for his first base hit of the season. He is 0 for 13, 19 at plate appearances. Does have an RBI though. And he'll look at ball one. And now with Lopez motoring on down to second, a chance to do some serious damage as well as help his RBI total. Runners at second and third and nobody out. So perfect position for Polanco. If he hits that ball to the right side of the infield or hits a medium depth fly ball, odds are highly in his favor that Wekiva is going to score at least one more run.
Down the third base line.
It's fair. The long throw over after snagged by Pierre. And now the throw home as Neal is safe. As a wild throw, and actually 2 runs come in. And
2 runs come home as Neal and Lopez each score. Meanwhile, Polanco will credit him with a single as he would have beaten that throw to first regardless, but he advances to second on the throw. And now at the plate for the Mustangs, designated hitter number 4, Brady Rennert. So for those of you keeping score at home, I scored that as a hit and 2 errors. 1 error for each of the runs scored at home because there was a throwing error that allowed the first run to score and then a second throwing error that allowed the second run to score. I went ahead and gave Polanco credit for the hits because in my judgment, he would have been safe at first even if that throw was clean. But nevertheless, the damage done, 2 runs scored.
Yes, and the lead now 11-1 in favor of Wekiva. We are only in the bottom of the 3rd inning. You do have to play at least 4 innings.
Yeah, the rule in high school baseball, of course, 7 innings is a regulation game. The game can end at the 5th inning or middle of the 5th even, with the home team ahead. If the difference in scoring is 10 runs, it can end in the 4th inning if the difference in scoring is 15 runs. So Wekiva would still need to put up another 5 in order to cut the game yet another inning shorter. But at this point, Jones is it is incumbent upon them to close this gap, or else we may have a shortened game tonight.
So St. Filier back on the mound facing Reinert, who's 0 for 1 tonight, but he's reached base twice.
Telegraphing his intent to bunt.
Yes, Reinert reached base on a throwing error, a ground ball in the 1st inning, and then walked in the 2nd. Scored both times, and as you would expect, with a 11-1 lead, Wekiva's now making its way through the batting lineup for the 3rd time as ball 1. Quick throw over by Williams and ill-advised as that gets by Pierre. And we're going to have a 12-1 score. Scoring all the way from second is Polanco.
Polanco comes home, and that'll make it a 12-0 game. Neil, are you going to score that as 1 error or 2? Just 1.
So Wekiva continues to put the runs up. They've, of course, helped their own cause. They've done a lot themselves as the count goes to 2-0, but certainly a number of runs have also been scored on Jones' miscues.
Well, you can generally count upon when you see 12 runs on 5 hits on your line score, that either means you've got some serious trouble with walks or some serious trouble with errors, and Jones has split it about 50-50.
Yeah. Again, Wekiva sent 9 batters to the plate in the 1st inning as the count now 3-1, and 4 of those batters reaching base did so via the walk. As this ball lifted, and that's going to fall safely from the Wekiva perspective. on the ground. St. Flair and Williams giving chase. Certainly an A for effort. So a full count now to Reinert as he continues his bat with nobody on base. And the lead 12-1 in favor of Wekiva from Mustang Field. And the third time tonight, Reinert reaches base without an official at bat.
Reinert walks to first. Next to the plate for the Mustangs, pitcher number 17, Austin Schwartz.
And Schwartz, of course, who took over in the top of the inning on the mound. He's batting for Graham. And I did actually make a mistake when I said Reinert has reached base 3 times tonight without an official at-bat. He does have an official at-bat. I meant to say he's reached base 3 times without an official hit. And he scored 2 out of the 3, so a chance to go 3 for 3 in terms of runs scored. In the meantime, Graham, this is Schwartz. He's looking for his first hit of the year. 0 for 5, throw down the second. Safely in is Reinert. So chance for Schwartz not only to get his first hit, but to get his first RBI of the season and up that lead. This is the Metro Conference 2025 Championship Tournament. Last game in group play for both these teams. If Wekiva wins tonight, they will play Evans in the, I don't think it has an official name, but I like to call it the position game or place game, as the count now 1-1. And what that means is that there are 4 pools and each team plays another team that finished in the same place or position after pool play. So as Reinert makes his way back to second base safely.
Yeah, that's one of the signs of just how much Orange County has grown in terms of public schools now with 22, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe it's 23.
23 now, that's right, because Innovation made 23.
That says Schwartz is on his horse, and yes, that was intentional, related to the Wekiva being the Mustangs.
Yes, 23 schools in Orange County now, so we're back to being unevenly split with the opening of Innovation. We'll have to put another one on the west side of Orange County next so we can go back to being even. But, of course, we split the conference. And Reinert getting a little punchy there.
I also want to point out, if you're, you probably know this if you are a Wekiva fan for any more than a couple years, but for those who are new, first of all, thank you for joining us. But also, of course, the athletic director of Innovation is Brian Bruce, who was the former AD here at Wekiva, as there's a strike on the curve.
And before that was the assistant AD at Lake Nona, which is where he lives. So Innovation is a much better commute for him than Wekiva ever was. So certainly can't fault him for that, but we do miss him. Well, of course, we have Coach Biaggi back for his second tour of duty here at Wekiva. And we're glad to have him as well. We get the pitch away, and that one is a passed ball. And, oh, well, it would have been a walk. Okay, well, why are we sending Reinert back to third?
The count is full, though.
No, he took first.
Did he take? Oh, okay. And we have a pinch runner as well.
Devin Johnson comes in at first as a courtesy runner for Austin Schwartz, who walked there. Meanwhile, next at the plate, we move to third baseman number 20, Neil Flacker.
So Flacker steps in. He's 1 for 2 tonight. He's had 2 official plate appearances, a walk in the first and a double in the second, scored both times.
throw to first. And when you're having a night like Jones is having, every time you try to make that pick, you run the risk that you're going to do exactly the opposite of what you intended to do. But nevertheless, runners stay at 1 and 3. And I do not know why Rennert was forced back to third, why he was not allowed to take home on the passed ball. I don't know, for whatever reason that was a dead ball, as we get a strike and a stolen base. If you know the answer to that, please type it in the comments in the live stream. I'd love to know. But nevertheless, runners at 2 and 3. Strike at the plate. Rennert again.
As that ball drilled foul, and that'll take the count to 0-2.
Yeah, Rennert at this point is all but daring Jones to go after the squeeze play. he took off toward home.
Slashed into left field, and this is going to be at least 1 run. And Coach Tate gives the hold sign, but still, nonetheless, Wekiva
RBI
continues.
single as Rennert comes home, courtesy of Emil Flacker. Will extend the Mustang lead. Now 13-1. Next at the plate for the Mustangs, this will be number 11, Blaine Bird. So again, if you've got your own scorecard at home, we are in the 5th position of the lineup. Bird is in for number 8, Josiah Vigil, who started the game at that slot.
Wekiva continues to move through that lineup. As you just heard Mark say, this is their 5th position, 3rd time he's come up.
Swing and a miss.
Oh, 1-1 count now to Bird.
Again, this is unofficial and approximate, but I have St. Fleur with 41 balls, 26 strikes, and 10 in play. So that's 41 and 26 makes 77 pitches.
And Bird, as he looks at ball 2, actually ball 3, he's another Wekiva player looking for his first official hit of the season, 0 for 9. Does have an RBI though. Bird, a sophomore. And he will now be looking at a full count with runners at 1st and 3rd. And 1 out. We are in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Wekiva with a 13-1 lead. And that's going to be 14-1. There's the 14th run. Another wild pitch, and I'm not sure how many wild pitches, but I think it's been 7 or 8. So, to be honest, and I don't mean this in any way to be derogatory towards St. Fleur or Jones, but it's been difficult to keep track of all of them. Certainly, Jones, a team that
Next at the plate will be catcher number 3, Cody Bowen. Runners at 1 and 2 as he looks at ball 1.
Now, certainly Jones, a team that has some work to do in terms of skill improvement and certainly gaining some experience. One count now on Bowden, who he is actually one of the few players tonight on Wekiva who does not have a hit, although he has reached base. In the 1st inning, he drew a walk and then scored the run. Count now 2-1. Hit a soft line drive to the 2nd baseman Williams in the 2nd inning.
Should also note that we're starting to cool off here. That cold air that was brought in by the cold front is starting to make its presence known. We just dropped to 68 here at the ballpark. And even though the moisture has certainly cleared out. We're actually quite dry now. The wind has definitely picked up. We've got some fairly gusty conditions here.
Yeah, and of course, when I was looking at the news tonight, I say of course because I'm sure you out there, which again, thank you for joining us on this Wednesday night. His account now is ball 4, and now put runners at first, bases loaded. That was the big concern of all the weather reports, is that the wind would be really kicking up.
Bowen walks to first, and that will load up the bases for first baseman number 18, Charles Neal. And he slides out of the way of that one. Ball 1.
Wekiva's put 5 runs across home plate, as that's the second ball against no strikes. Wekiva scored 3 runs in the second and 6 runs in the first.
Should be noted that 2 more runs would be necessary to put Jones on notice that they would have to score in the top of the 4th to keep the game alive.
Yeah, that's the 15-run rule.
And that one is high and inside as Neal ducks out of the way. And that one low and inside.
So 3-0 count. Nope, actually that's ball 4.
The automatic run scored.
So give Neal an RBI, and he reaches base for the 3rd time tonight.
Emil Flacker comes home as he is forced there on the walk of Neal. Bases remain loaded, and next at the plate will be number 15, Sean John.
Yeah, and also Wekiva is now going through their lineup for a 2nd time in this 3rd inning as the count 1-0.
Low chop there. No contact for strike 1. Still just 1 away for the Mustangs. And runners in scoring position here. It's another swing and a miss. And a pass ball there, and the Mustangs will, they're tired.
So that game, we've mentioned it several times tonight. That's what I call the pool, the position game. You have 22 teams, or there's 22 teams in the Metro Conference. There are 4 pools. 5 games are played in pool play as that ball is ripped foul. Look out at the Jones dugout. And at the end of those 5 games, each team plays another team that finished in the same position. So the first place teams play each other, second place team, and so on. We'll get back to that in a minute.
That's going to be
the
in
ball
play.
Safely drops in. Prochet getting his hit. And that'll up the lead to 17-1.
2 RBIs come in on the single as Cody Bowen and Blaine Bird cross the plate. Sean John is safe at first. Runners at 1 and 2 now. And next to the plate for Wekiva will be number 2, Caden Lopez.
So Lopez coming up not only for the 2nd time in this game, but the 2nd time this inning. He came into the lineup for Fritchley in this number 9 position. Lopez singling and scoring a run in his only at bat.
Now we've got a coaches conference here.
Yeah, and getting back while we do have the break to the Metro Conference tournament. As I was saying, your first place teams after pool play each other. First place plays first base, second place plays second place, and so on. I think it's safe to say that Wekiva will be playing Evans. They need to win tonight for that scenario to come to fruition. And that game will take place on Friday. The location still TBD. And also as a note, tomorrow Wekiva will be playing at home as well. The softball team, that is. So looking ahead to next week, The baseball team has 2 games at home on Tuesday against Mainland and then on Thursday against Gateway. And that, of course, will take us into the spring break as we also have a pitching change. We are aware of that. We're efforting to find out who the new pitcher is. And then softball, baseball will also have a away game in between those 2 home games on Wednesday against Oak Ridge.
Now pitching for the Tigers is number 1, Juan Yepes.
And the softball team.
So that may very well have been related to pitch limits. I had 95 in my scoreboard, but it's entirely possible that I missed 10 or so of them, and so we might have gotten 105 there, or if we weren't, we were about to. So Jones's Coach Moore makes the change.
So, and then to conclude the schedule for next week, softball with 2 home games as well on Monday against Cypress Creek and Freedom at home. So go to Max Preps. You can find the schedules there. Of course, that's maxpreps.com. Type in Wekiva, and then you also need to type in the sport, which is below. You have to scroll down once you get to the school to get the sports, but they are there. So busy week next week as well here at the old baseball/softball complex with 4 home games between the 2 teams. And let's take a look at Yippie's, his pitching stats.
And it should be noted while we wait for him to finish his warm-up that Wekiva has crossed that 15-run threshold. And so that means that Jones will be obligated to score a minimum of 2 runs in the top of the 4th inning in order to keep the game going.
At the very least.
Correct.
Still only 1 out here, or actually 2 outs, excuse me. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 3rd inning, but Wekiva has the bases loaded. Excuse me, runners at first and
1
second.
and 2, yeah. So we scored 2 on that RBI single.
Yeah, actually I looked down and saw Coach Tate and didn't realize it was Coach Tate.
And that was hit number 6, keep me honest, Neil?
I believe so. I'll have that for you in just a moment. So Yippies, he comes in, and certainly he needs some work as well. This is his 4th appearance, has yet to start a game in a 42.00 ERA.
And, Jones is short 1 fielder. There we go. It's going to be Pierre, who was the center fielder, now moving to shortstop. The umpire had to stop the game like, wait a minute, Coach, you sure you want to play with just 8?
And now also
entitled to 9.
Also want to point out, though, that Yeppies, like I said, he has a 42 ERA, but he's only pitched 2/3 of an inning, giving up 3 hits. So certainly he has some work to do, as that's ball 1. And of course, Mark, and if anyone out there, if you follow baseball in any regular, you usually know that that stat line is pretty much normal. You're going to get a high ERA if you have 1 bad outing. So Yippie's an opportunity here, although not the perfect situation with runners at first and second, to lower that ERA to get that stat line looking better, as the count now 2-0. And Lopez represents the 12th batter to come up to the plate in this inning. And he'll be looking at a 3-0 count. And the delivery is strike. Nope, ball 4 outside. And that'll load the bases with
Caden
2 outs.
Lopez advances to first. That loads up the bases. Next at the plate for Wekiva, they will return to the top of the card. And once again, coming in for Bethune in this first position of the lineup is number 6, Enrique Polanco.
So Polanco steps up. Of course, he was also a pinch hitter, pinch hitting for Bethune. And this is also the top of the lineup, 1-0 count. And that'll be 2-0, and a nice job there from Williams, not just to stop that, but he was able to stop it because he got up quickly, got out of that crouch and extended.
It should be noted that sometimes when you see a scenario like this in softball, where further activity in a half inning is non-productive, what will happen is the coach will direct the players to deliberately leave base early in softball, which will cause outs and make the game go on, because that is the way that in softball that you can get out without impacting your own individual stats negatively. Baseball does not have that opportunity because leading off is allowed in baseball, and so there really is not a way for Wekiva to move the needle here. Because certainly a coach is never going to ask his players to do something that would harm their own stats.
A 3-1 count now on Polanco, who did reach base on an infield single, and now he'll go down. Excuse me, that'll take the count to a full count. 8 runs put up in this inning by Wekiva, 3 in the second, 6 in the first. That's been a total domination by Wekiva. First 4 batters reaching base. And take your choice there. That was either ball 4 or the hit batsman. Either way, brings in the 18th run of the inning and keeps that lineup moving. As Wekiva now going through the lineup for the 4th time.
Charles Neal will come home for the Mustangs as Enrique Polanco advances to first. Next at the plate, DH number 4, Brady Reiner.
Oh, Reiner's stepping up for his 4th time, and he does not have an official hit tonight, but has reached base 3 times. Reached base on an error the first time, walked the 2 other times, and he scored all 3 times. Now he does make contact.
That's going to drop. That's in play. That's a hit.
That's going to go, well, just die there. Picked up by Lassane. And 2 runs coming in, so now Reiner does have his first hit of the game.
Reiner with a 2 RBI single, and that puts runners at 1 and 3. Next at the plate for the Mustangs will be pitcher number 17, Austin Schwartz.
Schwartz also pitch hitting. In this inning, he came in, as you heard Mark say, who, by the way, is our public address announcer. He came in the last inning, entered the game actually as the pitcher, and now he's continued in that pitching spot for Graham as Reiner motors down to second base.
And I have 7 hits on the books for Wekiva.
Yes,
agree
I
with
believe so. So Schwartz, he is 1 for 1. This is his second at bat in this inning as well. He makes contact, almost the same exact area as Reinert.
That's fair.
Yep, drops in there and crossing home plate. Make it a 21-1 ball game.
Officially now 3 touchdowns with the extra points. Enrique Polanco will score for the Mustangs on the RBI single from Schwartz. Next to the plate for Wekiva, Emil Flacker. We'll see a strike at the plate, and meanwhile a stolen base at third.
That ball lashed into left field, and that gets by Lassane, so it's not only a hit, but there's going to be some extra bases as that ball rolls all the way to the wall. 1 run in, here comes the second run, and a stand-up double for Fleckar, who has now reached base 4 straight at-bats.
Flacker with a 2 RBI double, sending home Rennert and Schwartz. Checking into the game for the Mustangs, number 10, Lucas Robinson, coming in at the 5-hole.
So Robinson will step into the plate, into the batter's box, and he's batting 167 with 1 RBI.
And it looks like that's not going to matter.
No, not going to matter, as this game is now officially over. So Wekiva, again, coming in with a 2-8 record. However, they were favored over Jones, who had yet to win a game, and certainly that's the way tonight went. First 4 batters reached base. They put 6 runs across in the first, 3 in the second, 4 in the third, and 10 here in the fourth. Mark, take us to the finish line.
That takes us to the end of the ball game. We'd like to thank everyone for coming out to support your Mustang and Tiger athletes. Mustang fans, we hope that you'll join us tomorrow for softball action right here at Mustang Field. The baseball team has earned the opportunity to play Evans on Friday. So that'll be coming up next for the baseball team. For those of you here at the ballpark, thanks for coming out and spending part of your Wednesday evening with us. Those of you watching online, we hope you will subscribe. But before you go, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Wekiva Sports. We'll see you next time from Mustang Field.